Hey, what is up guys? My name is Tristan. Welcome to the channel. Now, I realize that most of you probably don't know me if you don't follow my social media, which I don't expect you guys to do. Today, I'm going to introduce this new YouTube channel to my 1995 Turbo Miata. Now, like I said, I realize that a lot of you are probably not familiar with this car, but this is it. This car has a full digital dash, G-Racing short shifter, typical Miata stuff, wiring everywhere. Dash is painted because the tan was ugly. Seat harnesses. It is on a switch panel. I do still need the key to unlock the steering column, so the ignition cylinder switch and all that bullshit is still in here. If we go ahead and flick that, wait for the dash to boot up. So as you can see, this is my current gauge cluster, I guess you could call it. But this dash has a pretty cool trick up its sleeve. Bring out the little keyboard here. Go ahead and flick that baby on. Runs the full version of Tuner Studio, which means I have access to all of my tuning settings on the dash, which for a turbo project car is pretty nice. I will admit the dash is pretty finicky sometimes. There's little gremlins that pop up. For example, sometimes the speedometer doesn't work, and the reason for that is because if you look up here, this guy is a GPS, which is for the speedo. Now, I park the car in a garage 99% of the time. What happens is basically when the car is parked in a garage, it can't find a satellite for like 20 minutes. It takes like 20 minutes for the speedometer to start working. And when it does work, it like jumps up and down and does some weird things for a couple minutes, and then it'll even itself out. Other than that, the dash has been pretty good. There is a couple little things that are more gripes than anything. I guess they could be considered major. I cut this, so that's why this looks all rough. But this was fully fitted in here and matched with the cluster cover, right? So it was all fitted in nicely, and it looked pretty damn good. I have a giant gaping hole in my cluster cover, and what happens is the sun beams right through there and will melt this top piece. Now that's not good for a couple reasons. Obviously, one of them being because it sags and hangs in front of your gauge cluster, which is not a good thing. And two, for the aesthetics. If you're a very aesthetic focused person, this dash probably isn't for you. I would go ahead and stick with the stock cluster and probably do something like an Android tablet or like a Linux-based tablet that can run Tuner Studio. For me, this is fine because I don't daily this car anymore. I used to, and yes, I drive it a lot, but I don't care enough about the aesthetics to worry about that. There's some other things that annoy me about the car, mostly little things, but it's all, you know, typical 30-year-old car stuff. For example, everything's built kind of cheaply. Go figure. It's a 90s Mazda car. Everything squeaks, everything rattles. I got lucky enough to find a hardtop that has a really, really nice rear window, and it's actually glass. Cannot be thankful enough for the glass. The Lexan windows fade super quickly, and they do not look that good. All right, I am not a huge fan of the riveted look. And there's some weight savings to going with like a full race top or whatever that has the Lexan and all that. Personally, I'm not worried about it too much. If we go ahead and click that off, everything shuts off. That's another problem. These doors don't shut all the way unless you slam them. Right off the bat, a lot of you are probably gonna notice this. Don't mind that. That's my ghetto way of putting a filter on the turbo. Now, a lot of you might notice too, that's not a name brand turbo. This is an eBay turbo setup. In fact, most of the things on this car are eBay. What's cool about that is obviously the cost. It's a lot cheaper to go with the eBay stuff. But what's also cool, most of it's been pretty reliable. And when I say pretty reliable, I mean I beat the shit out of this car. I treat my car pretty rough, and all the components that were eBay have held up. Now don't get me wrong, I am not saying that I've had no issues with this eBay turbo setup. All right, there's been some stuff that doesn't match, it doesn't go together, or some stuff that breaks. The boost controller that I got, which was a 3-port Mac valve from eBay, decided to lose its shit and just keep the wastegate closed constantly. Right, so I took that off, I took the boost controller off the car and then put a 10-pound spring in it. So now it's only on 10 pounds. It was on 12 or something like that. It was on 12 pounds, something like that. Like I said, not saying I haven't had any issues with the turbo stuff, but in general, it hasn't been bad. I mean, really, it's kind of shocking how well the car drives and works with eBay stuff on it. The turbo is eBay, the manifold is eBay, wastegate is eBay. Hell, even the wastegate dump tube was a pre-made eBay part. So the only thing on that car that isn't eBay in regards to the turbo stuff itself is the downpipe. The downpipe is the only custom piece. Had a fully 2.5-inch stainless pie cut downpipe made. Even the intercooler piping and stuff is all stuff that I had laying around in my garage. The exhaust is an ISR circuit spec, if I'm not mistaken. Before the turbo, sounded pretty rough, I won't lie. It wasn't a great exhaust. Extremely loud, raspy. It sounded exactly how you'd expect every Miata to sound. With the turbo and the downpipe, definitely quieted it down a lot. Made it way more tame. You can hear the turbo crazy good, and overall the car sounds pretty good. Another cool thing is it's a sealed motor for the most part. Never messed with the bottom end. It is a completely, as far as I'm aware, I've never dug into it, bone stock 1.8. Came out of a 97 automatic Miata that I had bought just for the engine swap because I had blown up 4 motors previous to the motor that's in the car. And so what I did was I bought another car, ripped the motor out of it, put it in that car, and then sold the shell of the other car. And on 10 pounds, the thing is a rocket. I mean, it moves for being on 10 pounds. It is not slow. I'm not exactly sure what kind of power the car makes. I'm gonna guess anywhere from 250 to 3. I'm running a lot of timing and all that stuff. I mean, it feels like 300 horsepower to me, but butt dynos are normally wrong in very small, light cars, especially boosted ones. And it's also on a Mega Squirt. It's on a MS2 PNP, so nothing crazy. Mega Squirt 2, not Mega Squirt 3. It's not on like an AEM or a Link. It's on Mega Squirt. It's kind of that good middle ground. You know, Speedy EFI works really well for budget stuff. Mega Squirt's that really nice middle ground. You get a lot of functionality for, you know, a few $100s more than the Speedy EFI, and then you start getting into like Link stuff and AEM stuff. I didn't want to go with all that because personally I find tuning Mega Squirt to be a lot easier and a lot more intuitive. But overall, the car's been pretty damn reliable. It does still have the stock 5-speed in it, so it's a stock 5-speed. I have the 3.9 LSD, and it's also got a stage 3 6-puck clutch, which I might want to change soon because that clutch is a bitch to drive. But overall, the car has been fantastic to me. I'm not running a blow-off valve, so I get the amazing stu-tu-tu noises. And honestly, I'm not sure what I want to do next to it. I mean, besides the obvious, like putting a 6-speed in it, building the motor, going for more power, I just can't bring myself to justify it. I feel like whatever power level it's making right now is damn near perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and end off this video. That was most of what's done to the car, at least what I can think of off the top of my head. Tomorrow, I'm gonna take the car for a little drive. I'm gonna record that, make another video tomorrow, driving the car so you guys can get a feel for how it drives and stuff like that. And I'll go through a little bit more detail in later videos on, you know, what the actual setup of the car is instead of just listing it off and stuff like that. And I'm pretty excited to start this new journey on YouTube because I've been wanting to document stuff with this car for a really long time. I just never got around to it. I've never had the motivation to actually finish a video or anything like that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this off. Appreciate you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, it helps out. But I will see you guys tomorrow or whenever the next video is.